welcome.
Are you ready to be a success? Master your career, you're a success. You are a success. She's a career master. A success.
Good morning and welcome to Career Mastered Inside Career Success Show. I'm Dr. Lisa Lindsay Wicker, CEO and founder of Linwick & Associates and the publisher of CareerMaster Magazine. I got to tell you, we have a wonderful show planned for you today. This is our sixth episode. I'm ecstatic as usual because this is about something new, something fabulous, something amazing. It's about high-profile women, high-achieving women who are mastering their careers, who are lifting other women up, who are also in the marketplace doing the business of business. And so we're really excited because these women have given of themselves, and I'm thrilled to bring them to this show to talk about their success, just to take a peek, if you will, to look inside of their careers. And they will share with us inspiration, they will share with us motivation, challenges, and just all about what they're doing. And so here we are today with none other than a phenomenal woman who I truly have come to love, not only because she's just a wonderful woman, but I love her personality. It is just engaging. And once you meet her, you just can't get enough of learning more about her. But before we bring her on, let me tell you just for a moment about CareerMaster Magazine. It is a quarterly publication that has been in the marketplace since 2018, launching with launch parties in New York City, Charlotte, North Carolina, and Detroit, Michigan. And since that time, we've actually expanded globally. And we're totally ecstatic about the opportunity to reach women to advance their leadership. That is our mission. And while we're doing that, and we're talking about women, let us not forget that we also will be talking with men allies that support women, that help us do what we do and are helping to ensure that we advance our leadership. Today, as I mentioned, we're pleased to bring on with us none other than Colleen Odegaard. And let me just give you a little background. And I'm not going to try to remember. I'm going to actually read just a few of her accomplishments. And so who is she? Well, Colleen has spent nearly 3 decades in front of a TV camera, right? She was formerly co-host of WCNC Charlotte Today. She says because of that, people make certain assumptions about her. They think she must really be confident, always upbeat and real go-getter, right? But the truth is, Colleen shares that she spent many years sleepwalking through life, numbing with food, wine, or Netflix. Despite having a husband she loves, and 2 healthy sons, which I've seen, they're gorgeous, and the TV career, she felt like she wasn't enough. And so I won't go through all of that because we're going to get a chance to talk with her because she's more than enough. And here she is today with us, Colleen Odegaard. Hi, Colleen.
Hi, Dr. Wicker. Thank you for having me. I appreciate the invitation. It's very
Absolutely. We're just so excited that you could take the time out to stop by because I know you're busy. You have your own podcast. We're going to talk about all of that. But I want to jump right in and let our audience hear from you personally about your successes. And as we talk with women, as I mentioned, it's really about successes, triumphs, motivations, inspirations for your career. And so I'm just going to hop right in. Okay. And so what I want people and our audience, and come on in. I'm looking at those that are with us today. Thank you for joining us. Colleen's, where she started versus where she at is totally different today. And it's a story, one of what we know to be inspiration and perseverance, as well as authenticity. And so for the last 11 years, Colleen Odegaard, it's not 11, it's actually 3 decades. Am I right?
It was 11 years of Charlotte Today. And prior to that was many, many years in news. So a total of close to 30 years in television.
What am I? Now you really don't even look like that age, but we're just going to like.
Stop.
I love it. So basically what we're saying is that after that, you have gone on to bring on your own podcast called Wake Up for Your Life. Mm-hmm. And so Wake Up to Your Life. And you are also a certified coach as well. And so what I want to know is, with a successful career in television, what made you pivot to where you are today? Share with us how you got there.
Yeah, so I think that a lot of people looked at my television career and it appears very glamorous. As you know, what you see on social media in front of the camera isn't always the way that it is behind the scenes. And listen, I'm not hating on that TV career. I mean, I loved so much of it until I didn't love it anymore.
Mhm.
And I think because in me, there was still something that wanted to try something else, that I had this nagging itch, this feeling, this belief that, I really am drawn to this life coaching thing. So when I was still in television, I was doing coaching as a side hustle. I got my certification. I went to school. Certification is very important to me. As a journalist, I care about people's credentials, what gives them the right to be out here saying the things that they say. So I got certified and then started seeing clients on the side while I was working my full-time television job, and then decided to make the transition into coaching full-time. So I hope that answers your question, but it was just something that I really wanted and believed in, and thought that I had done everything I wanted to do in TV. There wasn't anything else that I needed to do. And I felt very stuck and kind of stifled, because, to be honest, on television, it wasn't always, I didn't get to talk about stuff that I wanted to talk about all the time.
Right.
It was what I was supposed to talk about. So now via the podcast and working one-on-one with clients and in group coaching situations, I feel like this is how I'm supposed to make my impact now and help other people.
Right. Well, I love it, because a lot of people have a fear of just making a leap, going from one thing to the other, and mastering your career certainly requires some risk, right? And so let me hear from you about that fear. Was there a fear that you had when you made this decision that you were going to pivot and go to a different direction?
Oh my gosh, 1,000%. And I still have it. And I've already done it. And I'm, several months into it, and I still have that fear. So my answer might not be as sexy as what some people might say. I am not of the mindset of leap and the net will appear. I know we like that quote. However, there's some stuff you have to do first before you make the change. As I mentioned, I was getting certified. Once I got certified, while I had my full-time job and my regular paycheck every 2 weeks, that's when I was doing that. I started seeing clients while I still had my full-time job. And once I saw, my business can be a viable business, that's when I took the leap. So I do think that, this sort of advice of just go after your dreams. As a life coach, I'm all about people's dreams. However, I think you can do it with some smarts too. You need to do the money math. You need to take a look at, how much money do I need to survive? Can I live on, what if I don't make any money for 6 months? Will I be okay? You need to get those things in place before you make the leap, is what
I love it. I love it, because you just gave some gems there. You're saying, hey, just don't jump. You have to plan, and you got to kind of know what you're doing. I love the fact that you said, I didn't just leap. I had prepared. There was preparation there before you just kind of went out there and did your thing. So you were kind of like balancing your job, getting that 2-week paycheck, right? And then, then you had also resources to help you go to where you wanted to become, right? Mm-hmm. Let me ask this. So when did you get a glimpse of this voice that you have, that your voice mattered? Like, how did you come to understand that you would be listened to as a person in the marketplace?
Mm-hmm. So to be very honest with you, I don't know that I knew that when I took the leap. Mm-hmm. I was scared. I had this, and it sounds strange because if, anyone who may have followed my television career, I don't presume that everyone knows who I am here. I don't know where your audience is coming from, but if you're in Charlotte, I kind of look familiar to you perhaps. Yeah. And I think that people assume that, well, of course, you knew you had a built-in audience. Well, I didn't know, because my podcast is very different than what I was doing on television. I'm talking very vulnerably. I'm vulnerable on the podcast. I talk about something totally different. I'm talking about, not necessarily what I talked about on television. So I wasn't sure that I would be listened to. So that's what I would say. That was the leap. That was the scary part. That was the fear, and do it anyway. Like that for anyone who's listening, if you feel afraid about something, but it just won't go away, you spend a lot of time thinking about the book you want to write, the talk you want to give, you want to hit live on Instagram, whatever the heck it is, feel the fear and do it anyway. So yeah, I was afraid. I'm still afraid, and I keep showing up because you get little whispers along the way. I think if you're on the right track, one, it feels good to you. It feels good in your heart and your soul. Two, you'll get those, when you have people saying, hey, this thing you did made a difference, that's enough for me. It wasn't, my podcast does very well, but I didn't know that was going to happen. I mean, I took a chance. And that's what I think, that you have to be willing to take chances. And even when stuff gets screwy, even when things don't work out for you, if you take that leap, you take the chance, no one watches your Instagram live, no one's reading the magazine, no one listens to your podcast, no one buys your book, no one shows up at your free webinar, whatever it is, what are you telling yourself on the other side of that? Are you saying, oh my gosh, I'm a failure, I'm a loser, screw that, I'm never doing that again? Well, if you say that to yourself, you won't try. However, if you're the kind of person who can have your own back through it and not beat yourself up for it, if you're the kind of person who can love and care for yourself and say, I'm proud of myself for trying, what did I learn from that? All right, ouch, that hurt a little bit, but I'm going to try it again. That is very different. When you are that kind of person, then you can get up again, then you can do it again.
Yes.
Make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting here, I need to write notes. I'm supposed to be interviewing you. I'm loving it. It's just so amazing, the gems that you're dropping, and our audience is saying, thank you so much. Show up. Great gems. Plan and find before doing your passion to help others. They're taking in what you're saying, Colleen. So very good. I really am taking it all in, because one of the things that I read that you said, which really resonated for me, and I'm sure with our audience, and I want you to just explain a little bit, is that you said life isn't meant to be on autopilot, right? But we do it all the time, and it leaves us unfulfilled, knowing that something needs to change, right? We found ourselves sleepwalking. Tell us how this showed up in your life and the life, maybe even of your clients, and what can women do to help themselves when they find themselves in that space or that mindset?
Mm-hmm. So it showed up for me because it was, I was doing kind of the same thing every day. And again, outside looking in, it may have looked glamorous, or it may have seemed like, oh, she has this coveted television career. But for me, there was something missing, because I wanted to coach, because I wanted to use my voice. So I was getting up, doing the things with the kids, getting them off to school, going to work. You see the 1 hour of television that I would do, but really I was sitting in a cubicle a lot of the time. It was felt like my little cage is what it felt like to me. That's how I felt. And then I'd come home and cook dinner, and then I couldn't wait to have a glass of wine, and then go to bed, and then do the same thing all over again. And it was just the sort of going through the perfunctory routine motions of the day. And I thought, this isn't living. This is just getting by. Yeah. It's not really living. And I don't want to just survive or just exist. I wanted to live. So I started asking myself questions like, what makes me feel alive? What makes me feel like I'm on en fuego, like you're on fire, like, yes, more of this. The things that make you go, yes, ooh, I want more of that. Pay attention to those things. So I started paying attention to those things. And I'd see other people podcasting, and I kind of felt jealous about it. I'd see people doing it, and instead of being happy for them, I was like, well, why does she get to do that? I want to do that. And I thought, well, I can. Even when you're jealous of somebody, pay attention to that. Pull on the thread. It can be an indication of something you want more of in your life. Mm-hmm. So I started this sort of waking up process, which was a process. It wasn't like wake up to your life. It was, okay, what are the things that I want more of? I want more one-on-one time with women being able to empower them and give them the skills that I've learned for myself. I started paying attention to what it is that lights me up, what made me feel alive. And that's where I tell people to start. If you don't know what your passion is, you don't know what your purpose is, just pay attention to the fact that you love listening to live music. Pay attention that you love speaking. Pay attention that you love riding your bike. Whatever the heck it is. It doesn't necessarily have to be your livelihood, but it gives you clues as to who you are and what you're meant to do and how you're meant to serve. So for me, it was just wanting to get out of the rut of doing the same thing every day. Yes. And I think so much of us do that. And we dull ourselves. We dull our shine. We dull what's in our hearts because we are scared. We are scared to fail. We are scared what other people will think. So what I like to teach people is how you can push through fear and how you can give a little less concerned to what it is that everybody else thinks and care more about what you think. So that was sort of the awakening for me. That was sort of the getting out of the autopilot, was mixing things up. And to be clear, getting out of autopilot could be as simple as driving a different way to the Harris Teeter. I mean, it could be the teeniest baby step. I'm not saying go quit your job. I'm not saying leave your partner. It could be like a teeny little thing. Try one thing different. You start mixing things up and you go, ooh, this feels more alive.
Yeah.
Go try playing pickleball. I don't know, whatever it is that floats your boat. You start with those things and then you start to create more of a life that reflects who you are on the inside.
Right.
So, and noticing too, I think that Dr. Wicker, so many of us live in this unconscious state. That's what gets us on autopilot.
Mm-hmm.
We do the things we're supposed to do. We go to the right school and we get the degree and we get married and we have the kids and we get the job. And then you're like, well, this kind of sucks. Is this it? Like, I'm not feeling this. So that's where I ask people to pause and look at what are the limiting beliefs that you have that come from a crappy boss you had, that maybe come from well-intended parents, but who had their own limiting beliefs, that come from a sibling, that come from a spouse that say, you can't just go do that. You're crazy. Question those and get more in touch with who you are, what you believe, what you want, what floats your boat, baby, what sets you on fire. The more you pay attention to that, you start, it's like the picture becomes clearer.
Right. Right. I mean, I'm loving all of this, and our audience is absolutely saying, yes, the awakening process. It happened for me. Like keywords: serve, shatter the limits, listen to your inner self. So they're taking in what you're saying, right? And at the end of the day, I'm assuming the podcast started during the pandemic, right? And to put that in place in the pandemic, I mean, that by itself took a lot of gumption, to say, I'm just going to go ahead and do this. What made you name it Wake Up to Your Life? I love that. And I know you've kind of answered that a little bit, but I mean, you could have chosen tons of names, right? I think there's some action in there, and that's what you've been telling us, to wake up to your life. But what made you go with that? Because you could have chosen anything. Was it because you wanted people to come in that way, to think about their lives, or it's because of what you did, or both?
Because I want that for other people.
I thought so.
Because I know what I lost by sleepwalking for so long, in all aspects of my life, even career-wise. That's what, even when you say, like, talk to women who've mastered their careers, I don't know that I ever mastered it. I persevered, but I never quite felt that,
Yeah.
What I'm saying? That I like totally had it freaking licked, and that I had it all figured out. You know what I mean? That I had it like down pat. But I think because I want that for other people, I know what I lost by not paying attention. And I wish that I'd started my podcast. Well, no, I take that back. I think I've needed everything that I've been through to get to where I am now. So I wish anything was different, but I do know that I lost some time. And when I see that, because, you and I are both always talking to women about the stuff that they want, that they love, right? And I meet so many people. I mean, I've interviewed literally thousands of people over the course of 30 years. Yeah. And now on my podcast too. And we're all more alike than we are different. So many people are walking around with this dream in their heart, or this idea that they're too scared to pay attention to.
Yes.
Because it's easier to sleepwalk. It's easier to like hit the snooze button and pull the covers over your head and say, forget it. It's a scary world out there. When the second you lean into it, that's when you're faced with all your crap. Right. So that's why I say wake up to your life. It is a process, and you can do it, that you have everything in you to do it, that the resources are available for you to be able to push through and change and grow. And even if you don't get the thing that you want, even if it's like, you're like, I'm going to go start my own business. And let's say you do it and it flops. Who you become, though, on the way to that is invaluable. What you learn about yourself. Right. And then you realize you're going to be okay. It's going to be okay. I think we miss out on so much.
I know.
Miss out on authentic friendships, richer, deeper relationships, job opportunities, creating art. I mean, what you're doing here with the show is art. This was a dream in your heart, Dr. Wicker. If you didn't do it, we wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation.
Right.
So I think we miss out on so much by, I'm just going to go to work. I'm going to go home and cook dinner. We miss out on our lives.
Right.
And none of us are promised tomorrow.
Right.
We don't know if we're going to be here. So that's why we have to wake up. That's why in this moment, we have to wake up.
Right. I love everything that's connecting here, because at the end of the day, we talked about fear. We talked about mindset. We talked about not sleepwalking, having that pull that all of us have, that pull, that desire. If that pull is there, there's a calling somewhere that you should be focused on, right? I mean, we don't get to that pulling unless it's telling us something. And as we talked about mastering, I'm going to share with you just a little about, you are mastering your career, because for me, mastering is a process. You are not mastered until you understand that every step of that failure and success is part of the navigation to master your way. Otherwise, you're letting someone else master you. And at the end of the day, it really is about you. And so what I want to ask you, take us back a little bit to when you were growing up. I understand you're from California, and what foundationally did you have in your life from your family that, because first of all, let me just say, I love your personality. Number one, you're not asking me and you didn't pay me to say that. Number two, I like your spunk and the fact that you are just you. And I love that authenticity. And let me tell you why. I watched your, I think In the Car with the Rollers. I'm not sure what you called it. What was the name of that show?
Curler Confessions.
Curler Confessions. I love Curler Confessions. I mean, I could relate to that lady, because it's all about, for me, and for you guys that don't know, as I'm talking to Colleen, she I'm not even sure if she still does it, but she did these episodes called Curler Confessions, and she would be in the car and she'd have her hair in curlers, and she'd just tell you all about what's going on and what you could do about your thinking. And for me, I loved it because it was authentic. And it was a moment to me in you, because you were still on the show at Charlotte Today, that you were doing this. And I'm thinking, I love the fact it doesn't matter what people think. You were really showing that it didn't matter what they think. You're telling people what they should know, and people were engaged. I know I was. Where did you get this spirit from? Did something in your life back in California bring you a foundation that you had this voice and people would just I think engage with it so tightly? Because I know I do. And so tell me a little bit about your background.
So a couple questions in there. I think what did it for me to be able to just start to be more of myself.
Yeah.
Like the Curler Confessions, the true story about that is that I would drive to, my hair is very flat, and because I had to be on live TV every day, I needed the volume, and my hair looked better if I wore Velcro rollers, and the longer I left them in, the more volume I'd get. So I would drive my kids to carpool with like the head full of curlers, drive to work, down the interstate in rush hour traffic with these curlers. And I used to walk into the TV station like that, and people thought it was funny. And they're like, I can't believe you do that. Like I'd get out of my car and pump gas and stuff. So one day the TV station was on me saying I wasn't doing enough social media, because I used to hate social media. I like it now, but I used to hate it. And which probably chaps the TV station, because now I'm all into it and I wasn't when I was there. But, and so I started thinking, well, what could I post that would feel like me, be authentic? And I thought, well, I'll just show that I drive to work with the curlers in my hair. And then Colleen's Curler Confessions came to be born. And then I started just talking about stuff that I was thinking, and, that sharing some real life stuff. So that's how that started. But I think what gave me the gumption to do that, I don't know if I think, because I had done so much work on myself. I mean, I'm like been in therapy for a gazillion years, and I love it. I never trusted myself. So to get back to my upbringing, I did not grow up in a household that supported, like go after and get it and be yourself. I did not. In fact, I learned very early that it wasn't okay for me to be me. It wasn't okay for me to be me. I have Tourette syndrome, a neurological disorder. It's characterized by motor tics and vocal tics. God can use anybody. I mean, I'm in front of a camera. You wouldn't know that I have Tourette syndrome. And it was something that made my mother very uncomfortable. And I just learned to suppress my tics, and I couldn't talk about it. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't start telling people about it until I was in my 30s. So I think that having stifled my voice for so long is what made me go, you know what, screw this. This is exhausting. It's exhausting to not be who you are. It's exhausting to try to be somebody else. It's easier just to be who you are.
Yeah.
So, and in my mother's defense, you know, I am a woman of color. I am Asian. My mother's from Vietnam, and her culture is just very different. You know, I'm this Vietnamese kid growing up in America, straddling the line of both cultures, and culturally even learning that when people couldn't understand my mother when she talks, she's very thick accent, broken English. It was almost like I learned to. I embraced my whiteness more than just, if that makes any sense, because I was learning from other people that like, oh, well, okay, well, they think she talks weird, and they think all the stereotypes that you'd hear, I heard my mother called them. Yeah. All the time.
Yes.
And so then I learned to be like, oh, okay, well, maybe that part of me is not good. So like now I'm very proud of my Vietnamese heritage, but you know, when I was a kid, it was like, okay, I have Tourette syndrome. That's not good. I'm Vietnamese. I don't fit in with these little blonde girls. Okay, weird. I started to stifle myself again. And now I can be like, you know, I can cuss you out in Vietnamese and I'll embrace that. You know?
I love it.
So I think that long answer to your question is that the more you do, anybody listening, you do the work that I'm talking about. You uncover who you are. You start to give up the ruse of being somebody else. Like, I can't do it. I have to just be who I am.
I love it. Snap, because it's all good, you know. And I like the fact that you can use that language in another language. I love it. At the end of the day, hey, that's a plus up. But our audience is basically just all over this conversation, Colleen. And so I'm just going to say that Mary Wells is saying, yeah, you're right. It's exhausting to be someone else. And Bridget Kaler is saying it's exhausting. Marianne says, you're strong, Colleen. And Cerise Simpson is saying, master it, girl. I mean, so they're all over this. And so I appreciate the audience being here with us today, because they are really connecting to your gems that you're providing. You mentioned a woman of color. I am as well. And women in particular always have a different sort of path to get there. Tell me, as you're talking with your clients, recognizing that gender equity remains at the forefront of many of our discussions. Yeah. Where did you find mentors and supporters as you walked along your path?
Mm-hmm. I really found my mentors in the broadcasting world, because that's where I was. You know, I started interning when I was 19 years old at a TV station in San Jose, California, and, you know, kind of locked onto some strong women who I turned to for support and for guidance. And, you know, I know you're all about mentorship, and I believe that we all need mentors. Mentors need mentors, you know. Yeah. We all need people where we can like cut through the crap and talk real and be honest about what scares us. But that's really where I found mentors. But I think that you can, you know, it's being willing to take a risk and show people who you are. Again, mm-hmm. Also, by the way, if somebody is looking for a mentor, I always say this, and I don't know if you'd agree with me here, but I think as the mentee or as the protege, you need to bring something to the table. Like, I used to have people come to me and say like, oh, will you be my mentor? I want to get into TV. I was like, well, that seems like a pain in the ass, because now you want to like shadow me around all the time. And what, and that sounds bad. Not that I didn't want to give back. I'm very generous. I'm very giving of my time. Right. But I think a better pitch is, if you're looking for a mentor, like, show them why they should mentor you. Yes. It's not enough to just say like, will you be my mentor? You have to bring something to the table. Right. Like think about that. What can you offer? You know, that's just my 2 cents there. No, I agree. I hit up for that all the time. And I was like, you blend in with you. Nobody stood out until they said, you know, here's some work I've done, or here's some things I think, Colleen, that you could do on your social media that might be helpful. Then it was like, wow, you're paying attention. Okay. Right. You know, like, and actually look for a mentor who you would like to be your mentor, not just anybody. Really give it some thought. Some thought. Lives you admire.
I love it. I mean, I believe in reciprocity. I think mentorship is reciprocity. It's not all one way. You have to be able to give something back. If you're not bringing it to the table, I mean, the mentor's absolutely going to be drained and not find it worth their time. So
Yes.
I totally agree with that. Absolutely. Now we're getting down to the end, and so what I want to ask you, if you were to name 2 to 3 superpowers that you have, and I know you say, "Well, I don't have Dr. Wicker, I don't have a super." Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. I just love it. So name me at least 2 or 3 of your superpowers, and maybe why those words are important to you.
Okay. Well, I used to say that one of my superpowers was walking in high heels for a long time, but that's no longer. Now I've got this knee surgery. It's no longer. It's no longer my superpower. But I would say that my superpowers are I'm a very good listener. And that is a skill that I cultivated over the course of 30 years, interviewing people and really listening, learning how to ask an open-ended question and then being quiet. And that people are always telling you who they are, or they're dropping clues as to what's important to them. So to really become a good listener and to do so without judgment or agenda, because more of us need safe places to be able to talk. So I think that's one of my superpowers. And I think, I think one of my other superpowers is that I'm afraid to do the work that I do, but I do it anyway. It's like that showing up kind of thing.
Yeah.
I just keep showing up even when it's not great or my work is subpar or I don't feel great or whatever, but I do it anyway. And so it's showing up and listening. Those are
and I would agree. And our audience, as well as myself, believe authenticity and perseverance. Mm-hmm. And I know we use authenticity, but true authenticity is not what everybody is out saying. Believe me. I mean, I have my own perception of it, right? At the end of the day, I think you bring to the table perseverance and strength. I see the strength in you because you're not giving up. No matter what, you still have that calling, and it's pulled you to change and do something different. And that takes strength, internal strength, right? Mm-hmm. And so we're going to leave with a couple of things. One, what do you do for fun? Because you're fun. So what do you do for fun?
Record podcasts. Yeah, that's it. That is fun to me, actually. I love music. I love to listen to music. I love live music. I love, and now that the world is opening up again, we can listen to live music. I like to just be with my friends and have a glass of rosé and talk and laugh. I love to watch funny movies. I love to read and listen to podcasts.
Awesome. Well, for parting words, I ask all of our special guests like yourself, what advice for women do you have for mastering your careers? It's I call it the Career Master moment. So this is your moment. What do you want to leave in terms of that drop the mic? Like what do people need to hear about careers?
This is going to sound not like a direct answer to the question, but it is. If you hear nothing else that I have said today, just come back for this. Watch what you think, because what you think about, you bring about. Watch the narrative in your head. Learn to create some space between you and the things you think. Not everything you think is true. So if you think, I can't get a raise, I'll never get a promotion because I'm a woman, I'll never get this, I can't change careers, I'm too old, I'm too young, I'm overqualified, I'm underqualified. Those are thoughts. Are those thoughts true? Can you say beyond a shadow of a doubt that those thoughts are true? No, you cannot. Those thoughts create feelings in you, right? Your thoughts create your feelings, and your feelings drive your actions. If you're thinking you can't change your career, how does it make you feel? It makes you feel defeated. If you feel defeated, what action will you take? Will you call Dr. Wicker and ask her to be your mentor? You won't. If you feel defeated, will you apply for that job on LinkedIn? You won't. Then what's the result you get? No new job. So if you can think something different, if you can think, well, if she can do it, I can do it too. How does that make you feel? A little more inspired, right? If you're feeling inspired, you're more likely to pick up the phone and make that call, send that email, apply for that job, take that chance. What's the result you get? You land the interview. So That's why the answer to this question is everything is coming from what you think. We feed ourselves so much bad stuff. Why? You have choice over what you think. We don't believe that. We think our thoughts are just coming to us willy-nilly, but our superpower is to be able to witness those thoughts and ask yourself, do these thoughts serve me? They don't. So watch what you're thinking, because your thoughts create your feelings, and your feelings are what drive your actions. So if you're thinking a bunch of terrible, crappy, poopy pants, low vibe things, you're going to get poopy results. If you can instead think, I have persevered. I am strong. If it's possible for her, it's possible for me. I'm highly employable. Whatever you can think that you believe and is higher vibe than your previous thought, you're going to feel better. If you feel better, you're going to take different actions.
I love it.
That's
what? I took it all in. I mean, I know I was supposed to be the interviewer today, but I also was the student. And so I want to thank you for everything that you have offered today. And I got to tell you, Colleen, I love this new you. I mean, it's not that it's a new person. I just love the refreshing, almost air of freedom that I see in how you are sharing and showing up. And I know when I was on your show before at this TV station, it's all scripted. It's all kind of like, you have to go through this process. It's all scripted, and I didn't get to see this. I saw this, Colleen, when you emceed the CareerMastered Awards. I love the fact that you have this humor. Even when you were the MC, you humored the audience, and I see that. That's who you are. You have that capability. And then I just love the fact that you are so authentic. And I wish there was another word for it, but I'll just say real. You're just real. And real is what people can connect to, because it becomes practical for them to take what you give and then use it themselves. And so our audience this morning, Marywell, Cerise, Kavana, Lindell, Tisha, I'm just looking at the folk here. They have said, this is Watch Your Thoughts. I love it. Yeah. Thank you, Colleen. Excellent. Thank you for this. This is inspiration. They are on it. All right. And so we're going to all go back and review this again, because it'll be out there. But before you leave, tell our audience if they would like to connect with you from not only a certified coach perspective or your show, Wake Up. How do they find your show, or how do they connect with you?
Thank you for asking that. So thank you so much. The podcast is called Wake Up to Your Life. So if you go to any platform where you listen to podcasts, you can search Wake Up to Your Life, or you can search Colleen Odegaard. Best of luck to you spelling my name. It's hard to spell. I know it, but it's there on the screen right now. You can search that and the podcast will pop up. You can listen for free. There's no cost to listen to podcasts, but the podcast is pretty good. I'm not going to lie. So go listen to the podcast, Wake Up to Your Life. I don't say that about all the work I've done, but I am proud of the podcast. Also, my website is ColleenOdegaard.com. You can also follow me on Instagram. I'm active there, Colleen_Odegaard. You can send me a DM on my website or on Instagram. There's a little tab for you to click. If you want to schedule time with me, we do a free call to see if coaching is something that's right for you. And it's really fun. And if you think like, I can't afford coaching, it's fine. Listen to the podcast. That's free. Free stuff all the time.
Simple.
Yeah.
Well, I love the fact that you took the time from your schedule, even after having your knee surgery. I love it. And at the end of the day, I also want to let people know that Colleen is a past honoree of CareerMastered Women's History Awards. And we're headed into that season for 2022. And actually, we're going to do a live event in Charlotte. So we'll be talking about that. Yep. And we'll be calling you, because we're definitely getting started here. We're excited to kind of get out here a little bit, but we're going to do a hybrid model. And I think my team said enough of this virtual stuff. We need to get back out.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. I won't hold you any longer. Thank you. We appreciate and love you. And thank you for supporting CareerMaster.
Oh, love you, Dr. Wicker. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Wow. Wasn't that fabulous? I got to tell you, I am going to go back with my notepad and pen just to pick up some of the gems that Colleen provided to us. She is just a remarkable human being. I like her as a person. And so thanking her today for being here on the show was really, really awesome, because I know she's a busy lady. But let me just bring you up to speed on where we are with Career Mastered. As you all know, we have put out the fall magazine, which is our third quarter. And if you haven't picked up your copy, it's absolutely available right now on Amazon, on issue, on Dr. Lisa Wicker. You can pick up either the digital or the print magazine. And as you know, this was our double take cover. We had Albania Rosario as our cover girl, who is the founder and CEO of Fashion Designers of Latin America. And as many of you who follow us know, we absolutely were a part of Fashion Week through her organization. And we just want to give her a shout out. But pick up, if you will, a copy, and you'll have great content. We put content in this magazine that will help you navigate, master your career, and advance your leadership. So hats off to the editorial team and my core staff, Latanya or Atisha Hammond, and all of our editorial team and our writers that have put their hearts and souls into this particular publication. And I won't start naming them because I won't get you all, but you know who you are. And then let me just share with you that we're coming up on a special edition of the Career Mastered magazine. It is the Career Mastered I Am Her Queens edition. We're totally excited, the HBCU Queens edition, and that will be coming out at the end of the year. So if you have an HBCU that you graduated from and you want them to be involved in this, direct message us, contact my office, make sure that you can help us make sure that your school is represented, because this is going to be hot. Again, it is the upcoming I Am Her HBCU Queens edition. We're excited about that. And then let me just share, please share with your friends to keep up with us here on Career Mastered Inside Career Success Show. We will be having a competition that you will not want to miss. We will announce it upcoming in the next edition of the show, but it is absolutely going to be available for you all, those that are unemployed, those that are employed, those that are transitioning employment, those that are looking for change. You will be able to participate. So can't wait to share that with you. In the meantime, make it a great day. And I thank you once again for being with us here at Career Master Magazine. And once again, we thank Colleen Odegaard, Wake Up to Your Life podcast host and certified coach, for being with us today. Have a great one, and we'll see you on next Thursday. Bye now.